Chapter 49. Slavery. Benin and West Africa are the birthplace of slavery as we know it. The city of Ouidah, which I visited the first week I arrived in Benin, was once called La Porte de Non-Retour, the door of no return, because it was from there that most slaves left the ships heading west after walking there for days or weeks and suffering greatly from the hardships of the journey and the violence of their masters. In 1440, the Portuguese began the slave trade in Europe. Beginning in 1500, ships full of slaves captured in Africa began crossing the Atlantic Ocean to the New World. During the 4 centuries of the transatlantic slave trade, approximately 12 million Africans were taken from their continent and brought to the New World and Europe. Kingdoms of Benin, Aladea, Abomey, Porto Novo, Cato, Chaba, Niki, Kwanda, and Dejugo prospered from the slave trade until it was abolished in 1807. The kingdoms fought each other, and the prisoners they took were sold to the English, Danes, Portuguese, and French. So the blame cannot be placed on those who bought them in the New World, not only the Europeans, but also the African kings, and of course, all the buyers in the New World. Many of the slaves died on the way before they got on the ships from disease, malnutrition, abuse, and neglect. Of course, many also died on the ships because the conditions there were terrible. I visited Ouidah at the beginning of my stay in Benin and saw all the statues and testimonies of slavery there. It really touched my heart. Also, when I visited Ghana, I saw the fort on the water there, where the slaves were held for many months, if not years, in difficult conditions until the ships arrived to pick them up. I felt the pain of the Africans. Today, griot's songs recall the slave trade of the kings of Dahomey. The palaces of the kings were found in the city of Abomey. Tribal storytellers also sing about the history of the captures of slaves by the kings of Dahomey. Caracol, the president of Benin at the time, wanted to truly admit his guilt for slavery and asked for forgiveness and invited all the descendants of the slaves to return to Benin and even received land to settle on. I spread this message in all my lectures. It is interesting to know if many actually returned to Benin, which is now called La Porte du Retour, the door of return. In the early 1880s, the slave trade was formally abolished. Professor Herms of Yale University wrote the book The Diligent about the daily routine of a French slave ship during the 1700s. Today, we can say that there is modern slavery in Benin, from and to it, of children and teenagers who are sent to for the purpose of domestic or commercial labor, including prostitution, approximately between several hundreds and several thousand children each year. Children from Benin are sold to Nigeria, which is rich in gasoline, Ghana, Gabon, Ivory Coast, and Cameroon for agricultural, domestic, mining, and prostitution work. The tribes of or social cultural groups in Benin are Bon, 35%, Adaja, Yoruba, Gon, Riba, Dundee, Sumba, Pio, and others. And here are the languages spoken. Pongba, Jenya or Mina, Yoruba, Batono, Dandi, Bariba, Ajagba, Aizogba, Ditameri, Tam, Pio. 6.2 million citizens in Benin today. The largest cities are Cotonou, 850,000 inhabitants. Porto Novo, 200,000. Parakou, 10,000. Abomey, 70,000. Natitengo, 60,000. As mentioned, I lived in the two largest cities where most of the strangers lived. I lived in Porto Novo during 2003-2004, and in Cotonou, I lived for 2 months in 2011. That's it.